First up, we got Ted Cruz, who was mocked relentlessly for sharing fake article about LGBTQ people and is refusing to apologize.
Yeah, so Ted Boy doesn't like to be pointed out as wrong, even though that does seem to be in his job description currently. Ted Cruz tweeted a story with a fake headline that said the evolution of white supremacy and the subheading of in Dearborn, Michigan, Muslim parents who oppose teaching pornography to children become the new face of the far right. Now, we covered this story last week where there was I believe it was a school board meeting that there was an outcry against the inclusion of LGBTQ plus materials in a library. And the majority of the people who were protesting did happen to be Muslim. But they are not the new face of the far right. And the implication of that is so fucked up, y'all. Because 20 years ago, the far right wanted to exterminate every Muslim off of the face of the earth, and they pointed out Dearborn, Michigan, time and time again as a Muslim conclave within the United States borders. And now Ted Cruz wants to come out and say, oh yeah, this is the face of the new right. Well, people are like, they came after him and basically said, you are kidding me. You are a fool. To think that this is what has happened is so ignorant. And people were just dragging him left and right to basically show him that, there's no way that this could be the reality of the new far right. Ted instead doubles down and says, well, it is what it is. Basically, he just washes his hands of it and says, you know what? I'm going to stand by what I said.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I love a man who has the integrity that when he's really fucking wrong, he stands by it.
Mm-hmm. That's why they love Trump so much.
Exactly.
The key problem with this, the different problem. There's the lies and all of that, and we're unfortunately getting used to that from the right. The arguments they make are just out and out lies. The problem is, it was a photoshopped article, and it included the author from the real pieces.
Right.
And so Abby Olheiser has gotten groomer, been called groomer, and probably gotten worse threats because whoever photoshopped this included her name on there in this. Sorry, I don't know their pronouns. I shouldn't say her. Just assuming off of the name Abby. But so they're getting dragged by the right for something that they didn't say, that they didn't post, is not a real article.
Right.
So not only are we all as a community victims to this, there is a direct person who is a victim to this. And talk about the laws where you should be able to sue somebody. She should be able to sue the ever-loving crap out of Ted for this one. Let's jump right in. We're still with Ted. He shared the name of a trans preschool teacher on Twitter to his 5.3 million followers. What was the backlash to that?
The backlash essentially is that any potential doxing of anyone by a United States public official, needs to be noticed. It needs to be taken into attention, because if any harm comes to an individual because of what a United States representative or senator or president or vice president or secretary of agriculture or secretary of the interior, anybody who is a representative of the United States government or the United States and its people, that needs to be called out immediately. Ted Cruz invaded the privacy of a pregnant preschool teacher by exposing his name on social media. Cruz had quote tweeted a tweet from an activist, conservative activist, that included screenshots of an email from a Washington, D.C. preschool outlining how parents should discuss a trans teacher's pregnancy with students. The individual, the activist, who had over 100,000 followers, included screenshots that mentioned both the name of the school and the teacher. That's bad. But then Ted Cruz went around and shared that post, and his following is 5.3 million followers. Now, the original post that was doxing has been deleted, but those great people at the Washington Examiner and Citizen Free Press and the National Desk, they got the story and they spread that teacher's name farther and wider than just what Ted Cruz did. Ted Cruz's tweet, which is still up, doesn't include the name of the teacher or the school, but the damage has been done because Ted Cruz exposed a private citizen, their name and their occupation, where they work, to a group of people who are known to be very militantly anti-LGBTQ, and now open that individual up to harassment or possibly violence. How do we know this? Because this is the same kind of crowd that goes out and shuts down a library. This is the same kind of crowd that goes out and they shut down a pride event. This is the same kind of crowd that goes to a library and says, you're not going to have this event that is going to help trans kids because we don't want you to be exposing kids to that. So this is, these are the same people. So to say that Ted Cruz instrumentally put the personal information of a transgender person on the internet and thereby created an event where that person could be harassed or experience violence, that is not unrealistic. It is not hyperbole. It is not made up. This is what happens.
Mm-hmm. And this is a case where a politician should be censured and should not be allowed to continue in office or run again. That is a massive violation of the rights of an individual citizen. And yeah, we should not stand for that in this country.
Well, let's go one step further. Twitter has anti-doxing rules.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter should pull that account and can him.
Yeah.
He cannot use Twitter. If he is going to dox a private individual who is not doing anything other than trying to work with their institution, then he deserves to have his account pulled.
Mm-hmm.
Let him go over there to Truth Social and suck up to the Trumplicans because, that's not cool.